Welcome back to today's video. It's your boy Hoop Rat. Before we get into the content, just wanted to thank everyone for watching the videos and support you're giving to the channel. Currently we're at around 290 subscribers and growing, and I really appreciate every single one of you, and I couldn't do what I'm doing without everyone that watches. Also, before we get into the video, I just wanted to go over some things about the Lakers and the free agency that has been going on. There's been a lot of crazy things that have been happening in the league and a lot of different things that the Lakers have. Normally you don't see a championship team change so much, but it actually has been changing much. To start it off, Avery Bradley has decided to sign with the Miami Heat, as you see on the screen. He's signed a 2-year, $11.6 million deal, and we're gonna miss him a lot as a Laker fan. He's someone that was able to be locked down on D, and he was in our starting lineup for almost a whole year, so we're going to be missing him a lot on the team. Next up, we have Rajon Rondo. He's not going to be a Laker next season. Really going to miss him as a Laker. I really loved watching him in the playoffs. Him and LeBron and AD together were a force to be reckoned with. The big reason why we were able to win the championship this year was because of Rajon Rondo, but he signed a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hawks are going to be vying for that playoff spot. I think the 8th seed is something that's going to be in their name next season. I think the Hawks can squeeze into the playoffs, especially with the new format where the 10th seed gets a play-in game. I think the Hawks are going to get into the playoffs next season. The next player we have is Wesley Matthews. He was able to sign. The reason why I'm showing all these Danny Green highlights, and sorry Danny for all the misses in the playoffs, but it's just the footage that I have. But Wesley Matthews is going to be replacing Danny Green on the team, and I think it was a very good pickup. If you look at the stats, Wesley Matthews shot 36.4% from three-point range, and Danny Green shot 36.7% from three-point range. So pretty much the same stats, and Danny Green's getting paid $15 million a year to play in Philadelphia with the 76ers, and Wesley Matthews is getting paid about $5 million a year to play with us. So a very good pickup for us. We were able to save $10 million on that contract deal and get pretty much a similar production out of that. The last player I have to talk about is Montrezl Harrell. He will be on the Lakers for the next 2 years. I'm so stoked about this. When I heard this, I was totally shocked that this happened. I think as everyone was. We saw Patrick Beverley. He tweeted out what, as in, he didn't know what was going on. And so Montrezl Harrell obviously didn't tell him what was happening. And so everyone was totally shocked that this happened, and to have a 6th man of the year be on the Lakers and the runner-up in the Lakers as well with Dennis Schroder, as we'll talk about just in a second. The Lakers are going to be stacked this next season, and they have a lot of talent on their team. Let's see if they can put it together like they did this year. But a lot of changes, so we're going to have to see what they look like. But don't get me wrong, I'm so stoked to be able to watch the Lakers next season, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them as a team and see what they can do on the court. So that's everything you need to know about the Lakers and their free agency so far. I mean, we also waived Quinn Cook, but I mean, that's not that big of a deal. But that's everything you need to know about the Lakers free agency. And with that all being said, cue the intro. So, earlier this week, Dennis Schroder was officially made a Laker, and the Lakers traded Danny Green and a pick. And when you look at this trade straight up, it seems like the Lakers are getting the better end of the bargain, and the Thunder are kind of getting the worst end of this trade. The Lakers, they're getting the second runner-up for 6th man of the year, and honestly, Dennis Schroder had one of the best seasons of his career so far. And the Thunder, they're getting Danny Green, someone who didn't perform very well in the playoffs and, kind of was a shell of himself this year. I mean, I think he'll bounce back this next season and do perform very well. As I talked about in my last video, link will be in the description down below if you want to check that out. But I don't think this was a fair trade. I think that the Lakers turned out to get the better hand on this trade. And this is the reason why I think the Thunder would even entertain a trade like this. If you look at it, last year, over the summer, it was the biggest free agency trade probably of the summer, I would have to say, when Paul George was traded from the Thunder to the Clippers for Danilo Gallinari and 5 first-round draft picks. I mean, that's quite a haul for Pandemic P, who didn't really perform very well in the bubble, but who knows what he'll do this next season. But that's besides the point. So the Clippers gave up their 5 first-round draft picks, and the Thunder got them. And so if Dennis Schroder is on the Lakers, he only helps the Clippers do worse. I think the Thunder are hoping that Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will again lose out this season and become free agents this next season and choose to go somewhere else. I think the Thunder, they want the Clippers to go back to their old selves and, never make the playoffs and perform very poorly and have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both leave, which I personally think would happen if they were to lose again next season. If they don't win the championship next season, I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are exiting the team and going somewhere else and seeking their options in free agency and seeing what they can get in the free market. Maybe go somewhere else to try and win a championship. And I think with the addition of Dennis Schroder on the team, I think the Lakers have a really strong chance of repeating. I mean, all the other players they have as well. I mean, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroder, Wes Matthews. I think those people will help them win the championship. But I think the Thunder's mindset was that if Dennis Schroder is on the Lakers, then they're going to beat the Clippers again, and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will leave, which means that their picks, again, that they received from the Clippers are going to be higher draft picks, and they're going to get a lot of good players in the draft. I mean, as you've seen, the Thunder are trying to rebuild, and they're trying to stockpile as many draft picks as they can, and I think this will help them reach their goal of getting as many high draft picks as they can as possible. Let me know what you guys think. Was this trade this far thought into? Is Sam Presti this analytical genius that can see into the future about how the Clippers are going to react because of this Dennis Schroder trade? Or am I just kind of making this up and thinking too far into it? But remember that this is just a little conspiracy theory and something that I think could possibly be happening, but in the end, it's just my opinion on what's happening. So take it or leave it. It's just my opinion. If you ended up making it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate every single one of you. Every single view on this video matters to me. Whether you're subscribed or not, I really appreciate the watch on this video. But if you can, drop a like and a comment and a subscription down below. It really helps the channel out and helps more people view videos like this. So if you like videos like that, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, this is just my opinion, and I'm Hoop Rat.